God says, "My child, stop for a moment and breathe, not because something bad is happening, but because something important is happening within you." This is not a message about fear or pressure, it is about awareness. There are moments in life when you scroll past things without thinking, when your mind is busy and your heart is distracted, but this moment feels different. You felt a pause. You felt something tell you to stay. That feeling is not random. It is alignment. When I say this is a critical moment, I do not mean that disaster is near. I mean that clarity is near. I mean that your understanding is about to deepen. I mean that your perspective is ready to expand beyond what has been limiting you. For a long time you have been looking at your life through the lens of past experiences. You judged your present through yesterday's disappointments. You measured your future by old setbacks. But what if the reason this message reached you now is because you are finally ready to see your life differently? What if nothing outside needs to change first, and everything begins with the way you interpret your circumstances? Perspective is powerful. The same situation can either weaken you or strengthen you depending on how you choose to see it. And you are standing at the edge of that choice right now. God says, "My child, the critical moment is not about time running out. It is about old thinking running out. You have outgrown certain fears. You have outgrown certain doubts. You have outgrown certain excuses. But you may not have fully realized it yet. That is why this message feels powerful. You are not the same person you were months ago. You have matured emotionally. You have become more aware of your patterns. You have started recognizing what drains you and what strengthens you. This awareness is the beginning of transformation. You may have been asking for change, but secretly fearing the discomfort that comes with it. You prayed for growth, but growth requires responsibility. You asked for clarity, but clarity removes excuses. Now clarity is here. You can clearly see where you need discipline. You can clearly see where you need boundaries. You can clearly see where you have been underestimating yourself. This is not meant to shame you. It is meant to empower you. When you see clearly, you can act clearly. And when you act clearly, your life begins to shift in ways that once felt impossible. God says, "What you are about to hear is simple, yet life-changing. You are more capable than you think, but capability requires commitment. You have the strength to build consistency. You have the intelligence to plan wisely. You have the emotional depth to grow beyond your past. The only thing that has been missing is full belief in your own readiness. Stop waiting for perfect confidence. Confidence grows through action. Action creates evidence. Evidence builds belief. That is how perspective shifts. Right now, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" begin asking, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of thinking, "I am stuck," begin thinking, "I am in preparation." Instead of saying, "Nothing is changing," say, "I am changing," and everything will respond to that. This is the shift. It is not dramatic, but it is powerful. The way you think about your life determines how you move in your life. And your movement determines your results. God says, "My child, you have been stronger than you gave yourself credit for. You survived moments you thought would break you. You adapted when plans fell apart. You learned lessons that shaped your character. Those experiences were not punishments. They were preparation. The perspective shift is realizing that you were never behind. You were being built. You were being strengthened. You were being refined. Now that strength is ready to be used intentionally. This is a critical moment because you are deciding whether to continue living on autopilot or to take conscious control of your growth. Autopilot feels easy but keeps you average. Conscious intention feels demanding but leads to expansion. Choose expansion. Choose responsibility. Choose to see yourself as someone capable of building the life you want instead of waiting for it to appear magically. God says, do not scroll past your own potential. Do not ignore your own awareness. Let this moment mark a mental shift. You do not need to change everything overnight. You only need to change your perspective today. Once perspective shifts, behavior follows. Once behavior shifts, results follow. This is how real transformation begins, quietly, internally, intentionally. God says, my child, now that you have allowed yourself to pause and truly listen, I want you to understand why this moment feels heavier than a normal moment and why your spirit sensed that you should not scroll past it. It is not because something frightening is approaching, and it is not because time is about to run out, it is because you are at the edge of a mental shift that will influence every decision you make from this point forward. Perspective is not a small thing. Perspective shapes attitude. Attitude shapes action, action shapes habits, and habits shape destiny. When your perspective changes, your entire direction begins to adjust, even if nothing around you looks different yet. For a long time, you have measured your life through comparison. You looked at others and wondered why their progress seemed faster, why their opportunities appeared bigger, why their results looked more impressive. But what you did not see were their private struggles, their unseen sacrifices, their silent discipline. You only saw the outcome. Now you are beginning to realize that your journey has its own rhythm. Your delays were not denials. Your slow seasons were not punishments. They were periods of preparation. Preparation feels frustrating when you do not see the outcome, but without preparation, outcomes collapse quickly. You were being built quietly. And now that you are stronger internally, the opportunities that come to you will match that strength. God says, this is critical because you are finally ready to take responsibility without resentment. In the past, you may have blamed circumstances, timing, or other people for where you felt stuck. But now you see that while you cannot control everything, you can control your habits, your reactions, your discipline, and your focus. That realization is powerful. When you stop waiting for external rescue and start strengthening internal structure, your life begins to stabilize. Stability is more valuable than temporary excitement. Stability builds confidence. Confidence builds momentum. Momentum builds visible change. You may have noticed recently that you are less attracted to chaos and more drawn to clarity. You are less interested in drama and more interested in direction. You are less impressed by attention and more focused on growth. These are not random personality changes. They are signs of maturity. Maturity shifts your priorities. When priorities shift, decisions shift. When decisions shift, outcomes shift. This is why this moment matters. You are no longer satisfied with surface-level improvement. You want real progress. And real progress requires consistent commitment. God says, "My child, the powerful message reaching you is not complicated. It is this. You are capable of building the next version of your life, but you must align your daily behavior with your long-term vision. Vision without structure creates frustration. Structure without vision creates routine without meaning. Combine both. Wake up with purpose. Plan with intention. Protect your time. Eliminate distractions that drain your focus. Invest in learning. Strengthen your discipline. These actions are not glamorous, but they are transformative. Transformation is rarely loud. It is steady. There may still be doubt whispering that you are not fully ready, that you need more confidence before acting. But confidence does not appear first. Action appears first. Then confidence grows from evidence. Each small step you complete becomes proof that you are capable. That proof silences doubt. This is how perspective shifts permanently. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who builds steadily, someone who honors commitments. Identity changes when behavior changes consistently. God says, what makes this moment critical is not fear of loss, but opportunity for growth. Growth does not wait forever. Awareness comes in waves. When you feel it strongly, you must anchor it. Anchor it by writing your goals clearly. Anchor it by setting a realistic routine. Anchor it by taking one action immediately after hearing this message. Do not let this clarity dissolve into distraction. Protect it. This clarity is the seed of your next chapter. You are stronger than your past doubts. You are wiser than your past mistakes. You are more disciplined than you give yourself credit for. Stop underestimating the progress you have already made. Reflect on how you respond differently to challenges now compared to before. Reflect on how your patience has increased. Reflect on how your boundaries have strengthened. These are signs that you are evolving. Evolution requires acceptance of responsibility. Responsibility requires action. Action requires courage. And courage is already growing inside you. God says, from this moment forward, see your challenges as assignments, not obstacles. See your delays as preparation, not rejection. See your discipline as freedom, not restriction. When your perspective shifts this way, frustration decreases and focus increases. Focus accelerates growth. Growth produces results. Results reinforce belief. This is the cycle you are stepping into now. God says, "My child, if you are still listening, it is because this message is not just information to you, it is confirmation. Confirmation that you have been feeling something shifting internally. Confirmation that you are not imagining your growth. Confirmation that you are standing at a point where your old mindset can no longer carry you into your next level. This is what makes the moment critical. It is not about urgency created by fear. It is about urgency created by readiness. When you are ready, delay becomes heavier than action. When you are ready, excuses feel smaller than responsibility. And you are ready. For a long time, you may have believed that external circumstances needed to change before you could change. You thought that once the right opportunity appeared, once the right support arrived, once the right timing came, then you would step forward. But now you are beginning to understand something powerful. The shift starts with you. When you think differently, you act differently. When you act differently, people respond differently. When people respond differently, opportunities appear differently. Everything begins with your internal alignment. That is the powerful message reaching you right now. You have grown in ways that are easy to overlook. You handle criticism with more calm than before. You recover from disappointment faster than before. You think more strategically than emotionally. These are not small improvements. They are signs of emotional maturity. Emotional maturity is the foundation of stable success. Without it, progress collapses under pressure. With it, progress becomes sustainable. This is why your perspective shift matters so much. You are no longer chasing quick results. You are building long-term stability. God says, "My child, the next chapter of your life will not be defined by sudden luck, it will be defined by steady discipline." Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-respect in action. When you wake up on time, you respect your goals. When you save money, you respect your future. When you say no to distractions, you respect your focus. Each disciplined decision reinforces the identity of someone who takes control of their direction. You are becoming that person. Do not interrupt that process by doubting your capacity. You might still feel moments of uncertainty. That is normal. Growth does not remove all doubt, it reduces its power. The difference now is that doubt no longer controls your decisions. It simply exists in the background while you move forward anyway. That is courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is movement despite it. And you have already demonstrated that ability in smaller ways. Now you are being asked to apply it consistently. This is critical because awareness fades if it is not protected. Right now your mind is clear. You can see what needs to change. You can see where you have been inconsistent. You can see how small improvements could create major impact over time. Protect this clarity. Do not let it dissolve into distraction once this video ends. Take a moment afterward to write down one commitment. One habit you will strengthen. One distraction you will reduce. One goal you will pursue with structure instead of emotion. Anchor the perspective shift with action. God says, you have underestimated the compound effect of small daily choices. A single focused hour each day becomes 30 focused hours a month. 30 focused hours a month becomes hundreds of hours a year. Imagine the skill, the discipline, the growth built through that consistency. The life-changing shift is not dramatic, it is mathematical. Small inputs, repeated consistently, produce large outcomes. This is how stable success is created. You are intelligent enough to understand this. Now you must be disciplined enough to apply it. There is also a deeper layer to this moment. You are learning to detach your self-worth from immediate results. In the past, if progress was slow, you felt discouraged. Now you are beginning to understand that process matters more than pace. As long as you are moving forward intentionally, you are succeeding. This shift removes pressure and replaces it with focus. Focus produces steady progress. Steady progress builds unshakable confidence. God says, "My child, do not scroll past your own evolution. Do not ignore your own awareness." This is the moment you stop saying, "someday," and start saying, "today." Not because you are forced, but because you are ready. You are capable of more discipline than you have practiced. You are capable of more focus than you have shown. You are capable of more growth than you have allowed. Believe that. Act on that. Protect that. From this point forward, move with intention. Speak with clarity. Plan with structure. Execute with consistency. Let your actions reflect the maturity you have developed. Let your routine reflect your ambition. Let your discipline reflect your commitment to your own future. This is how perspective shifts become life shifts. God says, "My child, now that you have listened through every layer of this message, this is where everything becomes real, because information alone does not transform a life, decision does." You have heard about awareness, discipline, growth, clarity, responsibility, and perspective, but this moment is about embodiment. It is about taking everything you understood and allowing it to change the way you operate from today forward. This is critical not because something outside is collapsing, but because something inside you is solidifying. You are no longer confused about what needs to improve. You are no longer unaware of your own potential. You are standing at the edge of self-leadership. There was a time when you waited for motivation to carry you forward. You felt strong on certain days and weak on others. Your progress moved in cycles. But now you are beginning to understand that waiting for motivation creates inconsistency. Structure creates consistency. When you build structure into your days, your emotions have less control over your productivity. When your emotions have less control, your discipline strengthens. When discipline strengthens, results become predictable. Predictable results create stability. Stability builds confidence. This is the chain reaction you are being invited to step into. God says, "Look honestly at your habits without judgment." Judgment weakens clarity, but honesty strengthens it. Where have you been distracted? Where have you been procrastinating? Where have you been underestimating the power of routine? These questions are not meant to shame you. They are meant to sharpen you. A sharpened mind makes better decisions. Better decisions create better outcomes. You do not need a dramatic overhaul of your entire life. You need focused improvement in the areas that matter most. Improve your sleep. Improve your planning. Improve your focus. Improve your follow-through. Small corrections produce massive long-term impact. You have also grown emotionally in ways that deserve recognition. You react less impulsively. You reflect more often. You think before speaking. You choose calm over chaos. These are signs that your maturity is increasing. And maturity is the foundation of sustainable success. Many people chase opportunities without strengthening their character. You have been strengthening your character first. That is why this moment matters. You are prepared to handle growth responsibly. You are prepared to protect what you build instead of losing it to old patterns. God says, "My child, the perspective shift you are experiencing must now turn into daily alignment." Alignment means your thoughts match your goals. Alignment means your actions support your future. Alignment means your time reflects your priorities. If your goals are serious, your routine must be serious. If your future is important, your focus must be intentional. Do not allow distractions to steal from the life you are capable of creating. Every minute invested wisely compounds over time. Every minute wasted compounds as well. Choose wisely. There may be moments ahead where progress feels slow. In those moments, remember this message. Remember that transformation is rarely dramatic in the beginning. It is quiet. It is repetitive. It is built on habits that seem small but are powerful when repeated. Do not underestimate consistency. The version of you 1 year from now will either thank you for today's discipline or regret today's hesitation. Let gratitude be your future emotion, not regret. God says, you are stepping into a season where excuses no longer feel acceptable to you. That is growth. When you hold yourself accountable, your confidence increases. Accountability is not harshness. It is self-respect. Respect your potential enough to give it structure. Respect your goals enough to protect your time. Respect your future enough to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term reward. These choices define leaders. And you are capable of leading your own life with clarity and strength. This is the closing of hesitation and the beginning of intentional living. Do not scroll past this awareness once the video ends. Sit quietly for a moment. Reflect deeply. Decide clearly. Then act consistently. That is how perspective shifts become life shifts. That is how ordinary days become extraordinary progress. That is how you build the future you once only imagined. If this final continuation has truly connected with you, comment, "I lead my life with intention" below. Like this video if you are ready to replace inconsistency with discipline, and subscribe if you are committed to steady growth, focused action, and becoming the strongest, clearest, and most intentional version of yourself from this day forward.